Just for context, I've been following Richard since 2017. So his ideals, his products, when he came up with HEX and otherwise, and like all these different time periods have been so interesting. And you talked about when he was, doing the self-help stuff. I came across that. And then you're talking about another era of it was making new all-time highs. And I remember he was streaming so much back then. It's like almost every day. It was like, new all-time highs, new all-time highs. And then he meets you all and to start discussing and forming this relationship to even start working on some kind of footage. I wanted to get into that too. Like, what was there a vision? So you meet him, and you eventually, it sounds like you decide that this is going to work. We can work together in some way, and then you start progressing towards, okay, we have a character. What is it like? What story do we want to tell, or did you have a vision, or to see how it ends up? Like, how did that process
go? So when it comes to the components of documentary, we know that there are some essentials. And so, you need to basically have a question in mind around, are they going to win the game or are they not going to win the game? Right? Is he going to climb the mountain free solo, or is he not going to climb the mountain free solo? Right? Are they going to be able to eradicate the porpoise harvesting practices, or are they not? Right? Like those kinds of questions. And for us, the larger question was, is this a scam or is it not? Right? Like, so, that, and then in and around that, there are a host of other questions that ladder off of that, right? Like wanting to learn more about the community, wanting to learn more about Richard's origin story, like who he is as a person, what's created the backstory and the conditions that have afforded him the opportunity to be the founder of this ERC20 token, right? Like what's it like to be a no coiner and then come into the cryptocurrency space, and specifically to make a large investment in Richard's ecosystem, right? So like there are a host of different thoughts and questions that kind of ladder down off of that larger idea. And as a result of that, then we knew that we needed to find people that fit those descriptions, right? Like we needed so we knew we had a founder. Now we need to know somebody who is like represents the community, in the deepest way. We called that the OG hexagon, right? And so like that's going to become RG3, right? We interviewed hundreds of people, and we're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like in terms of engaging with an audience and taking them along that ride, the journey of what's it like to be the truest of hexagons, right? That's RG. And then it was like, okay, well, we need someone who can give us backstory, because we want to share with the audience what is cryptocurrency and how did cryptocurrency come to be, and why would someone who knew of cryptocurrency be interested in something that RH was doing, right? And so that became Big K. Big K was like, look, I got involved in Bitcoin. I didn't care for Richard when I first discovered who he is. And then this is the way that becoming involved in his ecosystem has affected my life. So that's another incredible insight and a look in, without it having to be academic, right? Like we can educate you along that ride, but it's true to someone's experience as opposed to being academic, as opposed to standing in front of a whiteboard and sharing that kind of ideology with you. But then we needed, to allow the audience to live in what an experience might be like to have made an investment in HEX, and not someone who's looking at it in hindsight who said, I've done this, but somebody who we're along the ride with. And so we had to go in search of somebody who was about to make an investment. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's putting out their feelers, and very fortunate to have, a family who was about to be in that position. I guess, Mikey, who was about to be in that position, whose wife unknowingly was about to be in that position, say, yeah, you can come be a part of that experience for us. And so, we were there when he made that investment, and we follow their experience within that world. And that then affords the audience an emotional means of being invited into this space, right? As opposed to just remaining, again, academic or historic. But then one of the things that we had assured the community and that we knew is paramount to great storytelling is that, you know, storytelling lives in conflict, right? It lives in that space of wanting something and all of the things that stand in your way of that thing. And, you know, when we first learned of the Hexagon community, the one thing that just came through again and again and again and again was this like chest pounding, this unapologetic chest pounding of like bring on whomever you want to bring on, invite them in the ring, and let's talk about the structure and the performance of HEX, right? And so we went and in search of someone who was on that journey that wanted to take on HEX and to examine it and to look at it for the potential that it is a scam, and to, you know, to really want to take that charge on. And so we found a certified fraud investigator who had a desire to want to learn more about the cryptocurrency space, to discover that space, and to make sure that she was in a position to help expose any scams that exist within that space. And so Dr. Kelly Richmond Pope, you know, goes on that ride and invites us in to her discovery and the work that she's doing to examine HEX as a scam. And then in order to assure that she has the foundation that's needed to apply her fraud investigation techniques into the world of cryptocurrency, she invites a colleague, Lamont Black, Dr. Lamont Black, who is a PhD in finance, used to work at the Federal Reserve, and now teaches master's level classes in cryptocurrency. And so he educates her, but then he also becomes a part of the examination and the discovery and in looking at HEX as a scam. And so, you know, you can see that we have, you know, an incredible recipe here, right? We have like the eggs in place and the yeast, and we have the binding agents and the milk and the sugar and the flour and the cream and all of the things that are needed to make a damn good cake. We have all of the ingredients to make a damn good story. And so, you know, in identifying all of those pieces, then it's our job to be present when any of them are, you know, making a discovery or having any insight or you know, moving that needle forward in order to be able to share that story with the audience.
Yeah, I love the and people who've been watching the channel and know me too. I love constructive criticism. I don't mind when people say, you know, investigate or you know, just try to say, oh, HEX is a scam or Richard's not doing the right thing or whatever. Even though I mean being a RHMax, I'm very pro him, pro his ideals. I love it. I believe in his mission, glory, all that stuff. I think that I love seeing the other side. I love hearing both sides and then seeing that conflict take place, and then, okay, at the end of it, when the dust settles, what is true? What is true for each person too? I love the way that you all took that approach to the storytelling.